Doom Eternal's The Ancient Gods Part 1 DLC is some of the most thrilling and intense first-person shooter gameplay I have ever experienced. It's exactly what you want it to be. But is this DLC worth the €20 price point? That's what we'll be covering in this video, so when you're ready, grab your cup of tea, sit back, relax, and enjoy. The Ancient Gods Part 1 features 3 absolutely massive maps filled to the brim with enemies. The UAC Atlantica facility on Earth, the Blood Swamps, and the Hulshult. Unlike the original Doom Eternal campaign, which slowly but gradually gets harder, the second you hop into the first level, you will be bombarded with demons. This initially caught me off guard as I hadn't played Doom since I finished the campaign back in April. It's safe to say I got my ass kicked straight away. By the way, this video will have some spoilers, so I'm just going to give you guys a warning right now, right here. So let's talk about the first level, called UAC Atlantica. Like I said, this DLC is brutal, and on the first level, even experienced Doom players will get a run for the money, given that they are playing on the right difficulty for them. For those wondering, I'm a Doom newbie, and Hurt Me Plenty was burdensome enough for me personally. That's just because I never really put in the time to properly learn rotations and switching weapons. The first level consists of small confined spaces with countless demons. There's really no abundance of demons. There were times where I got stuck or smashed into demons when dashing around, and I don't really remember that happening too often in the original campaign. This might have to do with my playstyle, but just look at some of the footage from the original campaign, and then compare that to this. There's definitely a difference. Is this per se a bad thing? Not really. It adds to the difficulty of the battle arenas throughout the maps. Speaking of difficulty, the first level introduces a new enemy called the Turret. The Turret is a ranged attacking demon that hides when you stand too close or try to hardscope it. The way to deal with the Turret is quite simple, either use a precision bolt or your ballista. If you have a habit of missing, you could potentially use an ice bomb to freeze the turret's eye in place to kill it. This was my go-to strategy at the start of the game because, well, I suck. The turret really isn't that hard of an enemy on its own, but when you include a turret or two in a small confined arena and add a ton of demons to the mix, they do make that part of the level significantly harder. I have a question for you. Do you like Marauders? Well, guess what? This DLC has plenty of them to kill. In the first level, you have the pleasure of killing one in a tiny confined space. So yeah, to all the people that call the Marauder the worst enemy in Doom, you're in for a little treat. To me, the second level is by far the most enjoyable. It looks absolutely gorgeous. Everything about the scenery is dark and grim, and it fits the Doom feel. I love it. Within a minute of playing, you encounter something rather peculiar. It's bigger than I expected. The last thing I expected to see in this DLC was a gigantic version of those tentacles that like to bother you. Epic. While I don't particularly like the smaller tentacles, these thick and chunky boys made one part of this level extremely difficult. I genuinely enjoyed that part, by the way. I hope to see these return in the second part of the DLC. On the other hand, the Spirit, the other new enemy introduced with this level, was rather irritating. This Spirit possesses demons and makes them stronger, buffing their health, speed, and so on. And when I say stronger, I mean a lot stronger. The reason I found these spirits so annoying is because I didn't read the tooltip on how to properly kill them until, well, basically the end of the last level. Big dum-dum. So I played through the entirety of these 3 new levels with an empowered demon active at pretty much all times, until there were no demons left to possess. So for those watching that don't want to follow the same path, please read the tooltip, don't accidentally skip it, kill the possessed demon, and then microwave the spirit like you microwave your instant noodles before it gets the chance to possess a new demon. An interesting part of the Blood Swamps level is following a spirit dog around to complete trials in some of the smallest arenas imaginable. If you were to walk outside of these arenas, you'd start bleeding damage from the gas. This can really bring the pain, especially when you have to fight your second Marauder in one of these trials.
No, don't do it!
Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but the parkour during the Blood Swamps level is some of the most difficult I have seen in Doom Eternal so far. Even though I didn't find it particularly difficult myself, I did have to stop and think a few times during the level about how I was going to tackle some of the obstacle courses. I suppose you either love or hate the parkour on Doom Eternal. I personally do like the parkour elements, as it reminds me of what made Dying Light great. However, that container in the first level was... nah. was really annoying. After everything in this level, you get to take on the trial of Minecraft. Oh wait, sorry, I meant Malagog. Yes, Malagog. This boss fight consists of you fighting against some turtley cubes that open up and show the eye, which you have to shoot, of course, using your ballista or your precision bolt. I really enjoyed this boss battle. Very well done, although it wasn't really that challenging on the difficulty I was playing on compared to some of the other parts in the level. Very good. The third level is by far the most difficult. Well, at least I died the most times doing this level anyway. Lots of dreadnoughts, barons, tyrants, check. Arenas that deal damage to you, check. Marauders, double check. The third level also introduces a new type of maker enemy that can be pretty tricky when combined with waves of heavy demons. But thankfully, after they drop their shield, you can one-shot them with a headshot to receive a bunch of health and ammo, which in the end actually helps you more than it hurts you, at least I think so. I guess it depends a little bit on the situation, but as long as you can focus them down quickly, you'll be good to go. Otherwise, things can get out of control sometimes. The pressure throughout this level was pretty insane. The entire level felt like endless chaos. The final boss of this level and the DLC part 1 was brilliant. You have multiple phases where you fight him either directly or you have to fight against multiple possessed heavy demons. In addition to that, after a phase or two, the arena has lasers that move around, which makes it even harder. I can imagine this boss being incredibly difficult on Nightmare mode. In all honesty, I enjoyed this boss more than the final boss from the base campaign, as I didn't particularly like that final boss. So that's the Ancient Gods part 1. 3 levels jam-packed with intense action, parkour and gore. Just like the initial campaign, but better. Way better. As for the story, who plays Doom for the story? Seriously. Look, I don't necessarily mind these cutscenes and the story. They add some form of cooldown in between levels, so that's good I guess, but no one buys Doom for the story. Really? Yeah. For those wondering, it took me somewhere between 4 to 5 hours to play through all 3 levels, so I have come back to the question. Is it worth €20? If you like the initial Doom Eternal campaign, then yes, absolutely. However, I cannot deny the fact that €20 seems like a lot of money for just 3 levels, albeit very long and extraordinary brutal levels. If you want to get more value for your money, you might be better off waiting for a sale or buying the season pass for €30 instead to get the Ancient Gods Part 2 when it does come out in about half a year or so, which should also come with an additional 3 levels. Meaning you'd be getting more levels for your money, given that you do like Doom. However, you'd also be spending more money up front. That's something I'll let you decide yourself as a consumer. I know for a fact that I thoroughly enjoyed this DLC and I can't wait to see what part 2 has to offer in the future. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it interesting. If you did, leave a like down below and maybe even consider subscribing, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.